Let me just mention for the purposes of our audience that these three witnesses were chosen by the leadership of this committee by consensus, and we welcome them here today. Mr. Ditlevson, your opening statement, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Ranking Member, and distinguished members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on the Department of War's role in supporting Homeland Defense, particularly regarding the mobilization of the National Guard. As the Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of War for Homeland Defense and America's Security Affairs, I oversee the policies and plans related to these missions, and I welcome the opportunity to brief you today. The Trump administration has taken every available opportunity to restore law and order in the United States. To that end, the department has reinvested in its relationship with our federal, state, and local partners to strengthen safety within our country. Americans must know that they can walk home at night, that they can take their children to the playground, that they can exist without fear of being attacked. President Trump promised law and order, and through his fearless leadership, he is delivering. Promises made, promises kept. The Department of War, and specifically the National Guard, plays a crucial role in responding to a variety of domestic challenges, from protecting federal facilities and personnel to supporting law enforcement and disaster relief efforts. The importance of the National Guard in this mission comes straight from the top. Secretary Hegseth, a decorated former member of the D.C. National Guard, is ardent and steadfast in the critical role the National Guard plays in supporting law enforcement and keeping the American people safe. Our efforts are guided by a comprehensive legal and policy framework undergirded, most importantly, by the Constitution of the United States. We prioritize strict adherence to legal parameters in all of our activities while faithfully executing the President and Secretary's direction. To do otherwise would jeopardize good order and discipline and would be dangerous and irresponsible. Recent executive orders and presidential memorandums have directed DOW to provide specific support in several key areas. Currently, the National Guard is deployed in several states under both Title 10 and Title 32 authorities, providing support for a diverse set of missions, including federal protection missions in California, Illinois, and Oregon, support to federal law enforcement in Tennessee, and restoring law and order in our nation's capital. We are committed to ensuring that all National Guard personnel are properly trained and equipped for these missions. Every single service member undergoes specialized training before being entrusted with the duty to protect American citizens. We emphasize de-escalation techniques, respect for civil liberties, and adherence to the rules for the use of force. We also work closely with state governments and other federal agencies to ensure a coordinated and effective response to domestic challenges. The Department of War understands the concerns surrounding the use of National Guard in domestic operations. We are committed to transparency and accountability in all of our activities. We strive to balance readiness for both domestic and overseas missions, adapting our training and resourcing to meet evolving needs. My office is committed to ensuring that these resources are used effectively and responsibly, as we have throughout President Trump's time in office. Thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to answering the committee's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Ditlevson. Mr. Young, you're recognized for your opening statement.
Chairman Wicker, Ranking Member Reed, and distinguished members of this committee, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today on the important topic of National Guard mobilizations. The overarching concern in all of our National Guard deployments is to ensure that our communities remain safe places where our citizens can enjoy their constitutionally protected rights in peace, and where federal officers can perform their valid federal functions without fear of being physically harmed. When the Department of War receives a presidential mobilization order, Supreme Court precedents requires that we presume that he exercised his statutory and constitutional authorities as the Commander-in-Chief in a manner consistent with the law. These lawful orders, given in exigent circumstances, requires the Department of War to rapidly muster a response to prevent loss of life of limb and property in emergency situations. The Department issues carefully tailored guidance to commanders and mobilized National Guard personnel, focusing their mission on the protection of federal functions, personnel, and property. In doing so, the Department has operated well within the law established by longstanding Supreme Court precedent and longstanding Department of Justice legal opinions. The Department of War has also received, evaluated, and responded to numerous requests for assistance from the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice under well-established statutory frameworks for assisting other federal agencies in performing their federal functions and in assisting state and local law enforcement authorities. The dedicated women of our National Guard have selflessly stepped forward to heed the call of duty and have served our nation with distinction. From all reports, they are well received by the citizens they serve and have comported themselves in an exemplary manner. As a result of their service, our communities are safer. Our federal law enforcement officers can more safely perform their legal functions, and obstructions to the proper execution of federal laws are being removed. I look forward to answering your questions.
Well, thank you very, very much. And now, General Guillot, you are welcome here and recognized for your opening statement.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman Wicker, Ranking Member Reed, and the distinguished members of the committee. I thank you for the opportunity to appear today alongside Mr. Ditlevson and Mr. Young regarding the deployments of the National Guard in Title X status within the United States. I'd like to start by acknowledging the essential role of the Army and Air National Guard teammates play in defending the homeland every day. Right now, Guardsmen under the command and control of NORAD and U.S. NORTHCOM are defending against ballistic missile threats, protecting national airspace, supporting federal law enforcement, and helping seal and repel illegal activity at the southern border. In fact, there isn't a single NORAD or U.S. NORTHCOM mission that doesn't rely on our National Guard teammates. I'll center my comments this morning on United States Northern Command's roles and responsibilities in commanding and controlling Title X forces conducting the federal protection mission in support of federal law enforcement agencies. At the direction of the President and the Secretary of War, Army National Guard personnel operating in Title X status are tasked with protecting federal functions, which includes property, entities, and federal personnel performing federal functions, including enforcement of federal law in California, Oregon, and Illinois. There are also currently 200 National Guard personnel in Title X status at Fort Bliss, Texas, who are available for this mission if necessary. The assigned forces in all 4 locations operate under the command and control of U.S. NORTHCOM while reporting to U.S. Army North. This provides a unified command structure that ensures disciplined execution of the assigned missions and clear accountability. Accountability and adherence to all applicable laws and policies are critical, and U.S. NORTHCOM will continue to comply with all laws, regulations, and applicable court orders. In adherence with federal court rulings, personnel in Oregon and Illinois remain federalized on Title X status, but are not executing the federal protection operational mission. Meanwhile, 100 service members in California in Title X status are executing the federal protection mission in accordance with a stay issued by the Ninth Circuit as litigation continues to progress. NORTHCOM is in coordination with the department regarding the order issued yesterday by the District Court in California. From the outset, I've directed that every service member participating in federal protection missions be thoroughly trained on their authorities and limitations. It is essential that everyone involved in this mission understands precisely what they are authorized to do, but perhaps more importantly, what they are authorized not to do. To be clear, Title X forces are prohibited from conducting traditional law enforcement activities, including arrest, seizure, search, or evidence collection in connection with the enforcement of laws. Their mission is to take reasonable measures to protect the destruction or defacement of federal government property, including preventing civilians from attacking federal facilities, stopping ongoing interference with federal functions by civilians, or preventing civilians with a demonstrated intent to interfere with the federal functions from such interference. The mission also includes protecting federal personnel from harm or threat of death or bodily injury. As such, service members may temporarily restrain civilians conduct cursory searches, or take other similar measures to ensure safety of the persons on the property. To date, only one civilian has been temporarily detained by military personnel. That occurred on June 13th when, despite verbal warnings, an individual crossed a clearly marked boundary surrounding the Wilshire Federal Building in Los Angeles. In accordance with applicable law and policies, that individual was only detained until they could be handed over to proper law enforcement personnel. Title X forces are present to protect federal property and federal personnel in the execution of their responsibility to enforce federal law, not to replace them. Local, state, and federal law enforcement remain fully responsible for public safety and policing, while the objectives of the military professionals performing this mission are safety and continuity of the federal functions, and, if necessary, de-escalation, not confrontation. I met a young Marine in Los Angeles this summer, and when I asked him to describe his assigned mission, he told me that it was to ensure that the American citizens exercising their right to peaceful assembly and protest were able to do so safely. I think that sums up both the mission and the professionalism of the service members assigned to this mission very well. The Federal Protection Mission is an example of the Department's unique capability to support partners during extraordinary circumstances. NORAD and U.S. Northcom are proud of the command's ability to rapidly deploy trained, disciplined forces when and wherever they're needed, and the well-trained, professional, and ready National Guard is crucial to that effort. Again, I would like to thank the committee for the opportunity to speak today, and I look forward to your questions.